There's a reason you stopped here. Seriously. Out of all the videos, all the noise, all the distractions fighting for your attention right now, something in you chose this one. And maybe that sounds strange. Maybe you're tired of hearing people say, this message was meant for you. But before you scroll away, just sit with me for a second, because I don't think you clicked on this by accident. I think a part of you, maybe the tired part, the quiet part, the part you hide from everyone else, needed to hear something today that nobody around you has been able to say properly. Can I ask you something? Have you ever felt emotionally exhausted, even when technically nothing is wrong? Like your life looks normal from the outside, but inside your mind, it feels like you've been carrying something heavy for years. And the weird part is, you don't even know how to explain it to people anymore. Because every time you try, the words never fully come out right. People hear you, but they don't really understand you. So eventually, you stop trying. You start saying things like, I'm fine. You laugh at the right moments. You reply to messages. You show up. But deep down, there's still this feeling that something inside you feels disconnected from the world around you. And if you know exactly what I mean, I want you to do something really quick. Not for the algorithm, not for me, but because I genuinely want to know how many people secretly feel this way every single day. Just comment the word tired. That's it. Because I think a lot more people are carrying silent battles than we realize. You know what I've noticed? The people who feel the deepest are usually the people who learned very early in life that they had to carry things alone. They became observers. They noticed moods changing in a room before anyone spoke. They became careful with their words because they knew how much words could hurt. They became emotionally strong not because life was kind to them, but because life gave them no other option. And maybe that's you. Maybe you became independent too early. Maybe you learned how to comfort yourself because nobody else knew how. Maybe you spent years being there for everyone else, while secretly hoping someone would notice you were struggling too. And after a while, that kind of loneliness changes you. Not always in dramatic ways. Sometimes it just makes you quieter, more distant, more tired. You stop expecting people to fully understand you because experience taught you they probably won't. So instead, you carry everything internally. The overthinking, the memories, the anxiety, the pressure, the fear that somehow you're falling behind everyone else in life. And what hurts the most is that you're trying. You really are. People think lazy people struggle emotionally, but honestly, some of the most exhausted people are the ones fighting battles in their own heads every single day, while still trying to function normally. That kind of exhaustion doesn't show on the outside, but it changes you. I remember a period in my life where I felt emotionally numb for months. Not crying, not breaking down, just existing. And honestly, that scared me more, because sadness at least feels alive. But numbness feels like slowly disappearing from yourself. I would wake up, go through my routine, talk to people, smile when I had to, but every night when everything got quiet again, it felt like I was living disconnected from my own life. And one night, I remember sitting in complete darkness, asking myself something I had never admitted out loud before. What if this feeling never leaves? That thought stayed with me for a long time, because when someone has been emotionally overwhelmed for too long, they stop worrying about temporary pain. They start worrying that this is just who they are now. Maybe you felt that too. Maybe part of you is scared that this heaviness will follow you forever. But listen to me carefully here. The version of you that feels lost right now is not permanent. I know it feels permanent. I know some nights feel endless, but human beings change more than they realize. A year can completely rebuild a person. One conversation can shift someone's entire perspective. One opportunity can redirect a life. One moment of honesty can begin healing years of pain. And sometimes, rock bottom is actually the moment people stop abandoning themselves. Nobody talks enough about how painful growth actually is. People love talking about transformation. They love motivational quotes. They love success stories. But nobody really explains what transformation feels like while it's happening. It feels confusing, lonely, messy. It feels like outgrowing people you genuinely believed would walk beside you forever. And that kind of pain is hard to explain to anyone who hasn't lived through it. Because it's not always loud. Sometimes nobody fights. Nobody screams. Nobody even says goodbye properly. You just slowly start realizing that the people who once felt like home no longer understand the version of you that's emerging. Conversations feel forced. You hesitate before opening up. You start feeling lonely even while sitting next to people you've known for years. And the hardest part? You start blaming yourself for it. You wonder if you changed too much, if you became too quiet, too emotional, too distant. But growth does that sometimes. Growth changes your tolerance for what drains you. It changes what you're willing to ignore. It changes the environments your nervous system can survive in. And not everyone is meant to grow with you forever. That realization hurts, because a part of you still remembers the old memories, the old laughter, the old connection. But another part of you knows you can't keep shrinking yourself just to keep people comfortable. And maybe that's where you are right now, somewhere between who you used to be and who you're slowly becoming, which is an incredibly confusing place to live in emotionally. Because one day you feel hopeful about your future, and the next day you question everything again. One moment you want to heal, the next moment you want to disappear from everyone and shut the world out completely. You tell yourself you're going to change your life, then suddenly your mind fills with fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear that maybe nothing will actually change. And people don't talk enough about how exhausting that internal battle becomes, especially when you look calm on the outside. Some of the most emotionally overwhelmed people are the ones who appear the most fine. They still go to work, still reply to texts, still show up for people, still smile in photos. Meanwhile, internally, they feel like they're carrying years of unspoken emotions in silence. And eventually, that silence becomes heavy. Not dramatic, just heavy. Like constantly carrying invisible weight nobody else notices. You know what I think a lot of people are secretly starving for? Not attention, understanding, real understanding. The kind where you don't have to explain why you suddenly went quiet. The kind where someone notices your energy change before you even say anything. The kind where you don't feel pressured to perform happiness just to make others comfortable. Because pretending is exhausting. Pretending you're okay when your mind is tired. Pretending you don't care when you actually care deeply. Pretending you're strong when you secretly wish someone would hold space for you too. After a while, you become disconnected from yourself. Not because you're fake, but because you've spent so long becoming who everybody else needed that you forgot to ask yourself who you actually are. And honestly, that realization can feel terrifying, because suddenly you realize how much of your life has been survival. How many times you silenced your emotions to avoid conflict. How many times you accepted less than you deserved because you were afraid of losing people. How many times you stayed in environments that drained you simply because starting over felt scarier. But hear me carefully, recognizing that is not weakness. That's self-awareness beginning. And self-awareness changes everything. Because once you finally see the patterns, you can no longer unsee them. You start noticing how certain people affect your peace. You start realizing how often you abandon yourself trying to keep everyone else happy. You start understanding why your soul has been feeling so exhausted lately. Not because you're failing at life, but because deep down, you know you can't keep living disconnected from yourself forever. And maybe this season of your life isn't about becoming someone new. Maybe it's about finally returning to the version of yourself that existed before fear taught you to hide, before rejection made you question your worth, before heartbreak made you afraid to trust, before survival mode became your personality. Because believe it or not, there's still a version of you underneath all the exhaustion. A softer version, a calmer version, a version of you that doesn't wake up feeling emotionally at war with life every day. And no, you do not have to become perfect to deserve that life. I think social media has made people believe healing is supposed to look beautiful all the time. Morning routines, motivational speeches, perfect habits, instant confidence. But real healing is usually much quieter than that. Sometimes healing is crying in your car and still choosing to go inside afterward. Sometimes healing is finally admitting you're not okay. Sometimes healing is unfollowing people that constantly make you feel inadequate. Sometimes healing is resting without earning it first. And sometimes healing is simply surviving a difficult week without giving up on yourself completely. That counts too. It all counts. Even the small progress nobody applauds. And if you've been hard on yourself lately for not moving faster, for not having life figured out, for still struggling with things you thought you'd already healed from, please remember this. Healing is not linear. Some wounds leave in layers. Some lessons repeat until we finally listen to them. And some chapters feel confusing because your old life is ending before your new one fully begins. That in-between stage can feel unbearably lonely because people around you may not understand what's changing inside you. To them, you look the same, but internally, you're fighting battles they cannot see, trying to rebuild your relationship with yourself, trying to find meaning again, trying to believe your future can still become something beautiful. And the fact that you're still trying after everything you've emotionally survived says more about your strength than you realize. Seriously, there are people who gave up emotionally years ago. People who stopped believing in themselves completely. People who became so numb, they no longer allow themselves to hope anymore. But you, even after all the disappointment, all the overthinking, all the loneliness, all the nights your thoughts kept you awake, there's still a part of you searching for light. That matters. Hold on to that part. Protect it. Because that small remaining hope inside you may be the very thing that carries you into a completely different life one day. A life where peace doesn't feel temporary. A life where you stop apologizing for who you are. A life where you no longer have to beg for understanding. A life where you finally feel emotionally safe being yourself. And yes, that kind of life is possible for you too, even if your mind keeps telling you otherwise. So tonight, stop measuring your worth by how productive you were. Stop punishing yourself for being emotionally overwhelmed. Stop convincing yourself you're behind because your journey looks different from someone else's. You are not late to your own life. Some people bloom at 20. Others rediscover themselves at 40. Some people find love after heartbreak completely changed them. Some people find purpose only after losing everything they thought they wanted. Life is not a race, and healing is not a competition. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to become a completely different person than the one you were 5 years ago. That's not failure. That's growth. And maybe one day you'll look back at this version of yourself, the exhausted version, the confused version, the emotionally overwhelmed version, and realize this was the beginning of the chapter where you finally stopped abandoning yourself. So if nobody has reminded you lately, I'm proud of you for continuing, even quietly, even imperfectly, even tired, especially tired. And if this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, comment "still fighting." Not to impress anyone, just to remind yourself that despite everything life has thrown at you, you're still here, and that means your story is still unfolding.